when you put money first, you're running a business. So I made the mistake of putting people first. And that's why I lost a lot of money, because I was running charity, but from my own pocket, which is not sustainable.
Penuel Mlotshwa.
Justice Shabalala, I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
Let me take a deep breath.
You need some water?
No, I'm so proud of you, bro. So we met last year on the Hustlers Corner when I was invited to come and shoot with DJ Sbu, Groot young guy, very sharp, brilliant guy. I think from the first couple of conversations we were discussing YouTube algorithms, angles, captions, Mr. Beast, etc. I understood you had a vision to build like a production team empire, which I still wish upon your life. And I don't know how far you are with that and how well you're doing, but whoever's gonna watch this, they need to up their work ethic, and they need to find you, and they need to volunteer for free, and they need to add value so that whatever money you have, you can help them with petrol and food and whatever. We sat before in your car filming
with GoPros and all
with
that.
GoPros.
Yeah.
And you told me, look, I wanna try this thing, man. And when I saw it justify, I was like, it's happening, and it is meant to be a natural progression. You have sat behind the lens with so many celebrities, politicians, sports stars, ordinary people, talented kids, entrepreneurs. And I can only imagine how many times it was burning you that, like, I want to ask something. I want to say something, but I can't because I'm behind. So I'm so proud of you, bro. And when you look at the production quality of this, because you know the production quality of the Penuel show, this is literally right up there. So congrats, bro. I'm proud of you, and I wish you nothing but the absolute best. And I hope we can support you as much as we can in Justify becoming one of the biggest podcasters in the country.
You were once an entrepreneur. I believe you still are. You had multiple cars. You drove a Taz, but back then you used to drive a Beamer.
Oh boy, let them know.
Financed.
That's what's up.
7.5.
7.5.
Or even more, eh?
7.5.
So you owned fish and chips business at some point. You also had trucks, logistic company or something. Dude, you were worth millions.
Hey, millions is
that a big word?
Millions is more than 1 million.
But
Oh, yes. I was worth millions.
Even if it's 1.1 rand million, it's still more than a million.
I think it must be 2 million or more. Then it's millions. But
lie, bruh.
there's a chance at my peak of business that I was potentially worth between 2 to 4 million.
Kahle, Penuel, my question is that you were worth 4 million as you spoken just now. And I had a conversation with you with Sbu. I think Sbu, like Neseba Fitch at the time. And you told me that you lost everything.
Yeah.
Or almost everything.
Yeah.
And I asked myself, how did you lose it?
Yeah.
I know there are people that get ref money, 20 million, 10 million, and they would lose it. I understand that because I
blew it.
Yeah, I blew it. They're not used to that kind of money.
Yeah.
They don't have the financial education to maintain that money. So in a year or 6 months or even 2 months, the money is gone.
Yeah.
But you, dude, you've been reading books. You graduated as an accountant, right?
Yeah.
You understand numbers.
Yeah.
You are worth millions.
Sure.
But you lost them.
Yes.
How?
I'm going to do this thing that people don't like me to do. I mentioned Gates and McKenzie.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to add, when you said Gates and McKenzie is doing things for free.
Yeah.
When I checked as mayor of the Karoo, he wasn't taking his salary. I think he was giving it away. I stand to be corrected.
Yeah.
Johan Rupert earns a salary, I think, at Richmond. He gives his entire salary away every year. It's probably a couple of millions, if not tens, if not hundreds of millions of rands. People like Gates and McKenzie and Johan Rupert live off dividends of businesses that they own. So it's always nice to say, I'm giving away my salary. Cyril Ramaphosa owns Shanduga. And if ever Shanduga pays him 50 million in dividends a year, if he earns a 3 million rand salary as a president, he doesn't need the salary. so he can give it away. And if he gives it away to charity, it becomes a tax write-off, which he can use against the 50 million. So part of the 50 million won't get taxed because he's given away 3 million. But that's financial engineering. So it's not necessarily for free, number one. Number two, Gayton McKenzie understands politics and he understands the business of politics. I'm talking tenders, I'm talking PEE. And I'd like to think Gayton McKenzie, Julius Malema, and other politicians understand that if they gain power in this country, they will be able to gain access to tenders. And they will be the favored people to do business with white monopoly capital, the Indian, Chinese, colored business people in this country, foreign business people. So they're willing to forego money for now to gain power later. It's not just a Gayton thing. It's most people in politics at the highest levels that understand. I just wanted to make that point. I studied accounting and economics. So I'm an accounting and economics major from Rhodes University in Grahamstown. And I did my honors in accounting at the University of Johannesburg, Kingsway campus, Auckland Park. I've read a lot of business books. The most famous ones, the most influential ones. I was not raised in a family that does business, even though my mom was a hustler. She used to sell, like most other mothers, your Tupperware, your Amway, the juice. There was a juice that they sold, pots. She used to sell secondhand clothes. She used to mark for other teachers for extra money. So she was hustling, but she wasn't a businesswoman. We didn't own businesses. She didn't have a shop, etc. So I wasn't raised in business. I don't understand how business works. So I read about business and I met a lot of business people. But when I started business, I was still very naive. And having qualifications and meeting business people and reading the books is not enough. It's almost the equivalent of soccer. I can tell you that I've read all the soccer books. I've watched all the soccer matches. I'm friends with soccer players and soccer coaches. Maybe I was built athletically. But when you get on the field, it's a completely different story. You may not be good. And I wasn't smart enough and good enough in business. And that's why I lost money. I was naive. I was still very human. To be very successful in business, you need to move more towards machine and away from human. I was counseling because I do online consults. I was consulting with a young gent. He actually drove from Richards Bay in Durban, in KZN, by the coast, to Joburg to come see me. And he was going home to Mpumalanga. And when I took a walk with him, we took a walk around one of the amazing parks in Joburg. He was talking to me about he wants to create employment and empower. And I was like, whenever you put people first, you are not running a business. You're running a non-profit organization, a charity. If you're like, I want to get into business to lower unemployment and to get, you're doing charity work. And charity work is, there are people that do charity work and they are funded. When you put money first, you're running a business. So I made the mistake of putting people first. And that's why I lost a lot of money, because I was running charity, but from my own pocket, which is not sustainable. When I speak about worth, most people don't understand what that means. And it breaks my heart because some of our biggest heroes have said these things and we don't know what they mean. Being a millionaire doesn't mean much. But when you say it, it's such a big deal and people don't know what it means. I've been studying the Forbes rich list since early varsity, along with the Bloomberg list, the South African rich list as well. I've studied all the big entrepreneurs on the continent, in the world. I've met some of them. When you understand accounting and economics, you understand that net worth is assets minus liabilities. Your assets for an ordinary person is your car, your house, maybe if you have some cash and savings. Your liabilities is your house loan, your bond, your mortgage. So you have a 2 million rand house, but you owe the bank over 20 years, 4 million. You have a 500,000 rand car, but you owe the bank over 6 years, maybe the equivalent of 900,000. You have deposits, but on the other side, you've got a credit card and a personal loan. So you take these assets, you minus these liabilities, and you get a net worth. Almost all of the rich lists, Forbes, Bloomberg, South Africa or whatever,
Yeah.
don't have access to the liabilities. We don't know how much Patrice owes the bank. We don't know how much Aliko Dangote owes investors. We don't know how much Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk owes banks and other people. We don't. All we know is their assets. We also don't know all their assets. We only know the stuff that they are forced to share, because if you invest in a listed company, you can buy 2,000 Rand in shares in SAP. SAP has to show that Justice owns 2,000 Rand worth of shares. So if you own 20 million Rand, we will know, because it's public information. That's why the CEOs, the CFOs, and other executives, their salaries are public knowledge. In a private company, you don't need to know how much a person's earning. In a listed company, we have to know, because we are shareholders, we are investors there, it's public. So we only know the listed. So you'll know Patrice Motsepe owns African Rainbow Minerals, African Rainbow Capital. Then they'll do some valuation of Sundowns because it's a known team. Aliko Dangote the same, Dangote Cement, Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, whatever. Bill Gates, Microsoft. So we only know the assets, we don't know the liabilities, we don't know their real net worth. And we only know the listed stuff. Now the asset valuation is based on a measure. I hope I'm simplifying this.
Yeah. No, I get you.
My mom bought our house at Dropin in town. We lived at Section 4 at Madadeni with my dad. It was a house he got under the Zulu government when he worked for the Zulu government. It's now obviously the KZN government. My mom as a school teacher got a loan and bought a house in Arbor Park, which is a suburb in Newcastle. And then we moved from Arbor Park. She sold that house and we bought a house in Central, in Newcastle on Talmadge Street. Beautiful home, huge yard. She bought that house, if I was to maybe just give a guess, in 1998 for 200,000 Rand. That was the bond that was approved. So at 200,000, I know interest rates have gone up, but at 10% per annum, you're looking at maybe 2,000 Rand a month for a 200,000 Rand house. Fast forward to today in 2023, you might find that that house is worth 1.2 million Rand. Because over time, the value of property goes up, inflation, all those things. And let's say over those years, my mom has paid off the bond. So the house is fully hers. Every month she has to pay rates of 3,000 Rand because of the neighborhood it's in. There's maintenance, there's whatever. 1.2 million Rand. My mom, let's say, is still a school teacher. She earns 15 to 20,000 Rand a month. My mom is a millionaire. Why? Because she owns an asset worth 1.2 million. She doesn't have 1.2 million. She's not making 1.2 million a year. She owns an asset worth 1.2 million. One day you might be able to sell it. For other people, a 1 million Rand asset is not a house. It could be a truck. Not because the truck, you can sell it for 1 million, but because that truck maybe makes you 100,000 Rand a month. And 100,000 Rand a month is 1.2 million a year.
Yeah.
So you tell people I have this truck and maybe a contract to make 100,000 a month. Therefore, I will sell you the truck with a contract for 1 million. So that becomes now your worth. So when I say I was worth 2 to 4 million, it was based on my assets and the income I was generating, which was 100 to 200,000 Rand a month. I didn't have 1 million Rand in the bank. Because people are like, oh, I want to see your bank statements. Where were these millions? No, that's not what it is. Now, because that's how net worth works, and that's how worth, and that's how I now, for myself, focus on cash flow. When real businessmen say cash is king, they mean it. How much cash are you making? I sat with an entrepreneur this year who runs a business that makes over 100 million a year in income. It's got over 200 employees, 100 million. I asked him, what is your gross margin? Discussing accounting now. Gross margin is your income minus your cost of operations as a base. So if I've got a ShopRite, and I make 100 million, how much is the cost of the stock? 20 million. That means your gross margin is 80 million.
Yeah.
So he makes, this guy, about 80% gross margin. Net margin is something else. Net margin is after you've paid your tax, after you've paid other costs, after you've paid your debt, because your business probably runs on debt, after you've reinvested money into, etc., 20%, 20 million. So he told me his gross margin is 20 million. He makes 100 million as a company. The profit is 20 million. So now you'll be like, oh snap, this guy makes 20 million a year. Or someone, when they report on Forbes, Justice makes 100 million a year. You don't. Someone else will be like, no, this guy makes 20 million a year. You don't. I went and I asked this guy, how much is your salary? How much do you get paid a month from the business? And he said 50,000 Rand a month, which is 600,000 Rand a year. That guy makes 600,000 Rand a year. His business is worth 100 million in turnover, worth 20 million in net profit. His money, his cash,
the one that he takes home,
is 600,000. If he earns 50,000 a month and you work for a bank, for an insurance company, for a retail, and you make 50,000, you guys have the same cash. Your kids will go to the same school. You will drive the same car. You will have the same house because your cash flow as an individual is the same. So I've realized that cash is king. I've once asked someone, I remember Julius Malema was being interviewed when he had a case with Afri Forum, I think. They said, but you've got black billionaires like Cyril Ramaphosa and Patrice Motsepe. And Julius said something that a lot of people never heard before. It's like, I'm not sure if they're billionaires. He's like, Your Honor, I'm not sure. They say they are billionaires, but I'm not sure. And you're like, I mean, Patrice, depending on the year, is worth 1 to 3 billion US dollars. You multiply that today by almost 20. If he's worth 2 billion times 20, that's 40 billion Rand. What do you mean you're not sure if he's a billionaire? Then Penuel will come and explain that if he's worth 40 billion Rand, it is his stake in his companies. The stake in his companies doesn't mean it's cash. It's like your mom's stake in her house. How much are his companies making every year? The Mines, Time Bank, Sundowns, etc. How much are they making? How much of it is gross? How much of it is net? And then how much of it are his dividends and his salary? And you might find that he's like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs. Elon Musk and Steve Jobs is passed on, but they don't earn salaries. Elon Musk doesn't earn a salary. If you were to be like, Elon Musk, pay slip. Hey, Ntwana. Anga pay slip, Ntwana. Haibo, what do you, Ntwana, you're the richest man in the world. I pay slip, I don't earn a salary. I think Steve Jobs' salary was $1 a year. What do you mean? I don't know about Steve Jobs. Maybe he lives on dividends, but Elon Musk lives on a credit card. And he does this it's a tax trick. At some point, maybe when I start going hard on business and money, I'll start doing like content that actually gives people the hacks on how to actually win in the money game. He lives on a credit card. So when you look at lifestyle, you might find that you make more than Elon Musk. His net worth is to Mars, to the moon. He can go to the bank, sell his shares, use them as security to go and get money, but he's not. What is key is cash. When you and I walk into a shop and we need to eat food, and you're like, hey, Ntwana, I've got no new. Ntwana, but you're a millionaire. I've seen you being interviewed on CNBC and
BBC.
Hey, when you own businesses, you're like, hey, Ntwana, my businesses. Last year, my businesses paid me 20 million. I'm telling you real stories. You meet an entrepreneur who's popular in the streets. He'll tell you, last year, my businesses, the dividends, paid me 20 million. And then because I got a loan to invest in these businesses from the bank, from an NEF, from a CIFA, from an IDC, from a PIC, I got a loan. So I have to pay that loan. And the way it's arranged, I don't pay them monthly like normal people. I pay them every year when the dividend is declared. I got 20 million in dividends. I'm a millionaire. Not only did I get 20 million in dividends, when you look at my share of the companies I own, they're worth over 300 million. And those businesses paid me dividend of 20 million. But in terms of the debts I have to pay back, especially with the interest rates going up, I had to pay back, let's say 18 million. So of the 20 million, I keep 2.
Yeah.
And of the 2 million, because I live in an estate, because I have 4 cars, because I've got 7 children that go to private schools, because my lifestyle, because of To be honest, what I'm left with every month is 10, 15,000. So when we go out, you have a nice little job or 50,000, but you live in a small flat, you drive a nice little car, your kids go to a decent smolanyana Model C, your disposable income is more than this guy. So he's asking you, Ntwana, please, can you pay for the meal? But the guy's worth 300 million. Last year, he cashed in 20 million. He has 2 million to live his life, but he's only keeping 10 to 15,000. Now, to explain this to people is what we call financial education, which most people don't have. And if you have to start it, you have to start it from scratch. What is money? What is an asset? What is a liability? What's an income? What's an expense? What is gross margin, net margin, a balance sheet, income state? And you'd have to show examples until people finally understand, so that when Likau and Casper Nyovest sit down and they're like, we've got a press conference, we're signing 100 million rand drip deal with Casper Nyovest. Everyone's like, yo. Penuel's like, get the fuck out of here. The fuck do you mean? Luckily, Likau was asked in an interview and he responded and he was like, no, it wasn't a 100 million deal like Drip is giving Casper 100 million.
Yeah.
What we were saying is we're going to release a range for Casper. And our hope is that we will sell so many sneakers that it will bring in 100 million. We hope. Ha. 100 meter deal, no Likau. And you're like, you guys don't understand money and it's embarrassing. So when Penuel says he's worth 2 to 4 million, it almost means nothing. I was making about 100 to 200,000 rand cash per month. That's more important. And of that 100 to 200,000 rand cash, my lifestyle at the time was between 20 to 30,000 rand a month. I was making 20 to 30,000 rand a month, which is the salary of a school teacher to a corporate employee. But on paper, I was worth 2 to 4 million. To answer your question in a long way, I apologize.
Nah, no stress, man. Do you think if maybe you grew up in a business family, you were gonna maybe take better moves? And surely by now you were gonna be worth, I don't know, 50 million or something. Let's say your dad, your mom, they're entrepreneurs.
I want to say yes, but the answer is not simple. The short answer is it's easier to be a good professional soccer player if your timer was a professional soccer player. It's easier, or it's supposed to be easier. But sometimes it's not. And I've come to learn that it's because we're not the same. There's a reason why most wealth doesn't go beyond 2 generations. Yeah. There's a reason. And the reason is not nice. But the reason is there. Your timer became a soccer player and invested in his skill because he came from a village or from Ikasi, and soccer was the only way out. And because soccer was the only way out, he put in his heart and soul to escape. And because he had to run to school every day, 5-10 kilometers, he got extra exercising. And he played in a time where soccer players were not even getting paid a lot. So there wasn't a big market. And when he popped because he happened to be friends, not Jomosono, no Keza Mtaung, Babe Puza Ndawonye. So he got in. Now you fast forward to today, your father was a soccer legend. He's raised you in the suburbs. You get Ubered to school and back, so you don't even walk to school. You don't cycle to school. Your dad has got cornflakes, all brand flakes, Special K, Pro Neutro, Cocoa Pops, Rice Krispies, Wheat Bix, oats, and then you can also choose to have a full English breakfast with eggs, bacon, polony, rations, cheese grillers. In America, it's basketball and it's hip-hop. In South Africa, it could be soccer, it could be DJing.
Amapiano.
Could be amapiano. Becomes your only way out. So you have no choice but to become obsessed with winning. When you as a private school Saint Banbani boy get on the field with Lentwana Sekasi, Lentwana is not here. Afterwards, look, we're gonna go out with the girls or watch movies. My dad gave me his card. Intwana za Intwana yabo manga select wala. Intwana ngazi Intwana ngoba ioledi Intwana lishiyo uthi mawunga popula mhlambe komele ngiyogensi amakara. I'm gonna have to steal cars. I'm going to have to mhlawumbe ngiyongena kwipolitiki ngibe comrade, ngibe cadre. Ngizothola amathenda. So I don't want to do those dirty things. I'd rather we baller cause gift intwana. So when he's on the field, you're not seeing the same thing. To him, you are the prison warder blocking him from freedom. That's why when he comes at you for your ankles, that's why when he's running to go score that goal, he's not seeing, oh, Dwanyabo, if I can just curve it like Ronaldinho. He's seeing, if I don't score a goal, That's why some of these African guys, your Didier Drogba, Samuel Eto'o, JJ Okocha, some of these guys became phenomenal players because they came from poverty, from African countries that had nothing. And playing in Europe for them was like, I can't go home without something. So I'm just trying to explain that growing up in a family where you have a business, especially if your parents are intentional about teaching you about business, about you working there is great. A lot of these kids, their parents have businesses, but they sent to all these fancy schools and boarding schools. So they end up being weaker than
and they come back
else.
Smoking nyaup.
Ah, of course. Cocaine, because they've got money.
Oh my word.
Nyaup is the poverty.
the poverty cocaine.
The kids with money have got... no, man, there's a name for cocaine. It's...
Coke.
No, man, it's crack, but there's a term for it in South Africa. There's cocaine. Cat. Yeah. Dankie General. Yeah. Cat is the poor people's cocaine in South Africa. And then, Antwana, if you sing Flames, unanda ma ARV, ufake nezinye izinto ushaye inyawupe.
Nah, man, thank you so much, man. I think, yeah, I've been behind the camera like general for over 4 years. And, you know, when you're shooting something, you, as a content creator, you sort of have a vision of how to structure a video, basically. And sometimes, you know, if, for example, you on the Penuel show, when you're interviewing Vosi, I'm like, yo, he could have asked this, you know, could have been a nice intro and all that, you know. So I think a lot of people, they don't know what's happening behind the camera. There's a lot of challenges. We just spoke off camera now. That I've been anxious last year because of content creation. And people don't know me. Imagine if people know that, oh, Penuel was anxious last year, they would understand that, no, maybe, you know, Utui, where, you know, he's interviewing somebody who's big and all that. But there's a lot happening, dude, behind the camera. There's a lot happening. And it wasn't healthy for me, honestly. And I had to step back, take care of my body, take care of my mind, because when you're editing, now I have problem with my eyes because of I'm editing. I'm editing. Every time I used to drive at night, bro, I'm like, yeah, I'm the man, you know? But now when I'm driving at night, I can't see properly and I don't understand why. Because why? I'm always editing. I sleep at 3 a.m. Now because of this load shedding, there's even more challenges. Do you understand? And clients don't understand that, look, you have a problem with load shedding and you can't even buy an inverter. You know, us who stays at the East States, you can't even bring a generator and put a 2-liter petrol. You know, you're making noise for other people.
And it needs money, which most people don't have.
Yeah, and also if you had to buy an inverter, it also costs money, like 10K, 20K, depending on how much, you understand?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, they don't understand what's happening behind the scenes. I mean, like, you making it easier by shooting from your phone.
Yeah.
But I bet you for sure you want to take it to the next level. Better audio. And I actually wanted to, I don't know when is your birthday, I actually want to give you a dope mic for your phone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, for your phone. Because
Thanks,
I watch your content. I'm like, yo, this guy is actually dope. If I could get him a phone gimbal.
Yeah.
So you see when you're in Cape Town, Table Mountain, and you're just doing hiking, your phone is shaking. You just need something that your phone is stable.
Keeps it stable.
And then also you have a better mic. Because one thing that gets you more views, it's the quality of the video, obviously, but most importantly, it's the audio.
Okay.
You can have 4K footage, you can have 4K video. If the audio is bad, bruh, it's bad. You can have 4K music video. If the music is bad, it's bad. You understand? But yeah, but that's another conversation for another day. Are you well?
I've got so many questions for you, but like I have to remember that I'm a guest and I'm not here to interview you.
Ah, man. Yeah.
Like I wish you could expand for like 10 minutes around the behind the scenes and the anxiety, because being in front of the camera, we speak a lot about the guys in front of the camera.
Yeah.
How you manage your mic, how you speak to the guest, the type of questions, how to make it interesting. The story of the guys behind the scenes are not spoken about enough. And maybe it's going to be a challenge to you to either bring guys from behind the scenes in front. What's up, guys? This is Penuel. He actually is the guy behind this podcast. This is the lady behind this podcast. And hear their problems. If they're getting paid, what it's like working with different types of talent. At the Penuel Show, I work with a company called Tribal Media House. And the guys involved, they've worked with so many of the biggest stars and biggest productions, either as a production house or they send a cameraman, and they will tell you about different types of celebrities. Yo, this person's difficult to work with. Oh, this person's amazing. This person is always late. These directors are like this. And it would be nice for, especially the kids. I always go back to being a child. The kids who want to be involved in this type of industry, whether it's podcasting, online content, or entertainment in general, getting them to understand the stresses. While we were filming the Penuel Show, we sat and we looked at the data of the top 20 most watched shows. Most watched shows on SABC 1, 2, 3, ETV, and DSTV. There's a website link for that. And I was speaking to the gents there, and when you look at the notes, you see how the views have been affected by load shedding. Jeez. So if certain parts of the country don't have power from 8 to 10, that means the viewership of generations goes down. If there's no power from, I think Skimsam plays at 6:30 or whatever, the view, you'll see April, because it was stage 6. And now when the views go down, it means advertisers are not getting their value, or they pay less. It means someone's not going to get paid. They may have to let go of certain cast members. It becomes hell. And that's just load shedding. And you're mentioning that. Guys, Hustlers Corner, Virtual Mkuk, why didn't you guys drop at 12? Because of load shedding, bro. If it's not load shedding, at some point the networks, when there's no power, we have power. If another area doesn't have power, it takes slower to upload. We need you to explain 1 hour of shooting, what that means in editing. Because kids don't understand that. They shot for 1 hour. Maybe it might take, let's say if you've got fast Wi-Fi, let's say it takes 10, 15 minutes to upload. But then you shoot, you have to travel home. If you're doing only that, shoot for an hour. Maybe there's some chillers for an hour after speaking to the guest, whatever. Then you travel home. Home is 30 minutes away. You get home and you start working. That 1 hour of content, let's say it takes 5 hours. And then after the 5 hours, you upload. So this whole value chain, if you do nothing else, might take 7, 8 hours. Now, if you're shooting on a Sunday and you've got a family and you've got children and you're there for longer and you're not shooting one piece of content, you're doing, because one video, editors in South Africa can get anything from, in my experience, 250, 500, 750, 1,000, 1,000.5 in the podcast space. And then I think if you're working with commercial guys, maybe they can pay you 3, 5 or more if it's a big corporate. But you look at those amounts, if you're making 200, 500, 7, you can't survive on that if you're only shooting 2 things a week. So people do other bits of content. Now the stuff is piling up. And now you have to edit. And now you need this. And there's load shedding. And the client is waiting. But you said Monday 8, it's going to drop. You said Friday at 12, it's going to drop. Ngapa, your child is sick. Ngapa, you're trying to take care of your health. And while you're editing, while this thing's uploading, while load shedding, someone is saying, we have to shoot again. And that's where the anxiety comes in. So I'm hoping at some point you'll unpack that, and yourself and more of the guys behind the camera. Because I got to Joburg in 2008 from Rhodes in Grahamstown in Makhanda. I'm from Newcastle in KZN. And I joined an agency which was called, my first agency was DJs.
Okay.
And then after that, I joined Gano. I learned very quickly that...
Is it DJs SA?
I think it's DJs SA, yeah. They mostly do extras.
Yeah.
And then after doing some work, I was like, I think I want better quality work. So I went and I joined Gano. I realized very early while on set that I am no different to a mic. I'm no different to a prop. I'm no different to a camera. I am just one part of a machine. If you're inside a car, the engine, the gearbox, the steering wheel, the fuel, the wheels, you, the driver, are just one component. You can be the best driver in the world. What you were saying about filming on my phone and the audio is bad. I can be the best driver in the world, but if the tires are flat or worn out, if there's no fuel, if the engine is bust. So I learned to respect everyone. I learned to respect the production guys, the camera guys, DOP, the extras, because they add value. I can't, I'm the star. You can be the star, but if an extra keeps looking at the camera, they mess up the shot. So you need to respect them and be like, look, let me coach you. Don't look at the camera, focus on this. You meet someone else, the ladies who cook,
who clean,
the ladies who clean, the people who put up the lighting, the guys in the back who are always carrying the bags. Sanbona Bafet Ninja. And you learn with guys, we're all here to hustle. I might be getting paid more than you, but we're all part of a machine. I might be Cristiano Ronaldo, the star, but there's a defender, there's a goalkeeper, there's a coach, there's a team manager, there's someone who carries the kit, there's a physio. And if I don't respect these people, it's going to be a matter of time before I collapse. Because if you've ever watched the movie Oliver Stone, Any Given Sunday, Jamie Foxx, who's currently in hospital now, I hope he recovers soon. Jamie Foxx, LL Cool J, Al Pacino, Cameron Diaz. One of the things there, because Jamie Foxx, Willie Beeman is the quarterback, he's a star. And at some point, the defenders don't defend him. So he's getting tackled. And their whole thing is, you don't respect us. Why must we defend you if you don't see us? You're the star.
Yeah.
Defend yourself. So I learned to respect that, bro. And I'm sorry you went through anxiety, and I hope you are doing more to have a better quality of life, because all you have is your body and your mind.
True.
And if you lose that, doesn't matter what you have. It's game over. We've lost people to suicide in this country, talented people, because maybe them or other people didn't respect their bodies and their mental health. And you crash. You crash.
On the floor.
Otherwise, I'm fucking dope, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited to be here, and I'm honored to be here. I thought maybe I'd beg at some point. I'm just I'm invited to
No,
podcast,
man,
and
no,
to be one of the first guys called, bro, means everything to me.
Nah, man. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. I think it's very important for people to take care of their health, and a lot of people, they're just so obsessed with content. You know. I saw a trending video of, is it Ghost Mhlumbi or something? His girlfriend.
I don't know who that is.
Is it? You don't know him?
No, I don't know celebrities, bro. I'm not like you. You're more in tune and more connected than me.
Yeah.
This is a true story. I'm not even trying to fucking blow hot
you watch
air.
TV? I don't watch TV.
I don't watch TV, but I think you're more analytical of personalities in the industry. There are a lot of, like Kokos Koteni, I know because you guys filmed her. I didn't know she exists.
Yeah. Is it?
Now I realize, oh snap. Kethlelezi.
Yeah. Dr. Kethlelezi.
Dr. Kethlelezi. Yeah. I heard about when I was speaking to other production guys. They're like, Dr. Kethlelezi Omaz. I'm like, who the hell is that?
Dude, you need to meet him.
So I'm trying to explain that I don't know these people. Ghost.
It's gonna make you rich, that guy.
Is it?
Yeah,
Has he made you rich?
No.
Then you can't.
Dude, I was talking to General in the morning while we were driving. He's like, if you know these catch and heist vehicles, right? Yeah. If we had to approach it and ipomile and there's money,
sure,
are you gonna pass or are you gonna stop to get the money? So I said to him, I'm like, look, I don't like spending money that I didn't work for. It doesn't feel right.
Okay.
So I'm definitely just gonna pass.
You're lying.
I'm telling you.
Hey, Baba, get out of here, man. You can lie to General.
No.
Who General will tell me the truth after this?
It doesn't make sense, dude. Like, I don't, it's like, for me, if I can do that, which means if I see a car and then they drop Pampers, I know that I have a child, and then I take those Pamperses and say, look, I'm just going to give these Pamperses that I saw falling off a car, and then I'm going to use them on my kid. It doesn't make sense. What if there's a kid on that car who needs that Pampers? It doesn't belong to me. So that money doesn't belong to me.
We don't know that.
So
I know you are, I know
Penuel,
you're a Christian.
Yeah, I am. But Penuel,
And I know you're a believer. I know you're a believer.
Why?
And I know you believe in God, the Christian God, and that God works in mysterious ways.
But Penuel,
sometimes God will gift you in a way you don't understand.
Yeah.
The cash in transit car has been bombed. You don't know by who. You weren't involved. You didn't commit any sin, any crime.
It's not your money.
You see, again, God works in mysterious ways. And I'm just saying that money, if you've ever watched movies and you understand protocol, the police are going to come and collect it as evidence. And they're going to go put it in an evidence room somewhere. And at some point, they will have to dispose of it. And you know the police in South Africa are corrupt. Not all of them, a lot of them. And you know a lot of them are going to take that money and use it for rubbish. They might end up using that money to spend it with some of their drug dealer friends, pimping up their cars, funny things. You know, again, I apologize. I'm using religion. The Christian God works in mysterious ways. You know, look, if I take this money, I know I'm in need, number one. I know I'm a good person. And I know that when I collect this money, maybe I'll send some of it to tithe at church. Maybe I'll donate some of it to a child who's in need.
But that's dirty money. That's dirty money.
How is it dirty money? Because you didn't dirty it. Let me give you another example. This is a better one that I use. In South Africa, we have got a history which generally starts from the people of Ntu coming down south and then splitting up into the Ngoni people. You've got the Shitsonga, Chivenda, you've got the Sutu, Tswana, Pedi. Well, anyways, fast forward. Then the colonizers came. We had the Khoi and the San before the Ntu people came. We've got the Khoi and the San. We've got the colonizers, British, that came here. Before them, it was the Portuguese. Then the Afrikaners came and ran the country. And under apartheid, they built a lot of infrastructure and those kind of things. They built a lot of big businesses. If you look at the Afrikaner Broederbond, which was a secret organization of about 20,000 Afrikaans men who were Christian, who were married. These were the requirements. You had to be married. You had to be Christian. You had to believe in certain principles. It was a secret organization. They came together and they said, we will take over from the British in government. They funded the National Party. They built businesses such as Sanlam, Afgri, Volkskas, which was a bank, and today it's ABSA. They were responsible for, I don't know if it was the Burger or the Beeld, which was a newspaper, which graduated to become Naspers today, which is it's the most valuable South African company. It's listed in Amsterdam. So many big Afrikaans white businesses. So many big white English British businesses. You are Justice Shabalala. You grow up in, let's say, where I was born, Madadeni in Newcastle, Section 4. Your parents are part of the struggle. You fight Nelson Mandela and the ANC, Oliver Tambo comes out. And then you guys get to be liberated. You can vote. Your parents move you to a Model C school, Chelmsford Primary, Newcastle Junior, Newcastle Senior, Newcastle High School. And you push. You push as a black kid. Go to Teshar, University of Johannesburg, TUT, Tshwane University of Technology, DUT, Durban University, whatever. You push. You get a degree, diploma. And now you're looking for work. And the company that decides to hire you is Afgri, Sanlam, ABSA, DSTV, etc. My question would be, would you say no to that company? Because how they built their wealth is through the exploitation and oppression of black people. Is the money you're going to earn dirty money?
Well, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna work for them because I wasn't there when, they.
But it's dirty money. That's what you said about the cash in transit heist. It's dirty money. You weren't there when they bombed it. You weren't there when the money was all over the floor.
Are you saying?
And I'm saying because you're a good Christian, you're like, I will take some of this money because maybe God is giving it to me. And I know if it goes to the police, it might not get to good people. I'm going to take it. I'm going to use some of it for necessary things. And I'm going to give some of it to the church and to needy people. You're going to do good. Yes, you can't work for the money because you can't be like, oh, let me work here and clean up the money. No, you're going to take it. And you're saying you wouldn't. So that the bad people, the dodgy, non-Christian, horrible, corrupt people, they're going to go grab that money And you best believe you best believe they're going to be giving girls to twerk on their laps. You best believe some of it might be using it for funny things. You know you are a moral person. If you join an apartheid colonization company and you earn a salary, you know that salary, which was from the oppression and exploitation and murder of black people, you know you will put it to good use. So why not you?
No, I'm not going to take it. For me, personally, I'm not going to take it.
Just
My question to you.
Anyways, if you ever find that money, please send me a message. Except, I saw something so horrible. I just saw some money in the streets. I'm going to walk past. Get him just away. And that's so bad. Please call me there so I can see how bad it is. I'll come get that money.
You drive into Newcastle. Boom. G4S.
Apparently it's G-Force.
G-Force.
Is it? Hey, someone said it's G-Force. G4S. G-Force.
Are you serious?
I don't know. Apparently it's G-Force.
Anyway, G4S. Boom. 20 million. You're driving in your Taz.
No. I've upgraded from me Taz. Please respect me.
Shut up. Is that the car that I saw outside?
No.
But God is great, dude. Like, we've upgraded. You see, even me.
It's from Dirty Money.
No.
I saw a clip of Ulondi London.
Man.
I saw a clip of Ulondi London. Ulondi London and I used to stay together at Labori Village in Auckland Park.
Is it?
At some point.
Okay.
She's done really well in her career. I think as a musician and as a personality. She's on the Real Housewives of Durban last I checked.
Yeah.
And I think her and her husband are having problems. But I don't know. I don't follow that type of stuff. But I saw a clip of her with Altido. Altido's got a dope podcast as well. And Altido was saying people have seen you in a Taz. And she laughed. She's like, can you imagine me in a Taz with this bag and these shades? I was like, what the I have the deepest respect for a Toyota Taz. The Japanese, in their greatness, because they used to be the leaders of tech before South Korea, Silicon Valley, and Shenzhen in China. The Japanese and what they did with Toyota and the Toyota Corolla, which is the highest selling car of all time. NgesiZulu kuthiwa inguka naboya, real McCoy. The Toyota Taz, bro, next to the Volkswagen Beetle, the first one, which was commissioned by Adolf Hitler, designed and created by Ferdinand Porsche, who ended up creating his Porsche brand. Those two cars, the Toyota Taz and the VW Beetle, are potentially the greatest pieces of engineering because they are so strong and I love them. I've owned over 12 to 15 Tazs in my life.
Yeah.
It was sad for me letting go of my Taz, and I'm actually starting to think, once I start making money, real money, I'm going to go buy a Taz, bro. And I want people to respect that car because it is dope. But anyway, sorry. I killed your story.
No.
I love my Taz, but yes, I've gotten a better, more modern car because my Taz was really old. It's been having a lot of problems and I didn't want to invest a lot of money fixing it where I'm a minimalist. So I use a car to get from point A to point B. I wanted a newer model, still secondhand because I'm a cheapskate. Something with like central locking, clip, button. That's the car I've got outside. Nothing fancy as you saw. But yeah, so I get into Newcastle with my Toyota Taz.
With your Toyota Taz. And boom, G4S, 20 million. G-Force, whatever they call it. I don't care.
Tabo Pesta.
I don't care.
Dr. Nandipa.
G4S. 20 million. You are there. Would you take at least 10? Okay.
At least 10?
Yeah. Or would you take more? Would you take it?
Just so you're if I'm alone there.
Or would you, no, not even alone. Maybe there's like 20 people. You know, sometimes on the freeway, people don't normally stop. I don't know why. Even if you crash, or maybe you see a car crashing, they wouldn't like come out and go help that person. They just pass. So there's 20 people there on scene. 20 million.
What are some of the most corrupt organizations you know, or some of the most corrupt people? No, organizations or countries that you can think of off the top of your head? By corrupt, I mean they kill people, they steal, they hurt people.
I would say...
Maybe it's not a fair question.
Yeah.
But let's say drug dealers, tenderpreneurs, nations, organizations like the United Nations, World Bank, IMF, the ANC for me, which has become very corrupt, some of these white monopoly capital business leaders, I would gladly lead any of those groups.
Free of charge. Like Gayton McKenzie.
Free of charge.
Like Gayton McKenzie. Free of charge, bro. Come on.
Am I allowed to speak about Gayton?
Yeah, you serve in the country.
Let me answer your question. I always get criticized of not answering questions or answering them direct. I believe I have a good heart. I believe I'm better than most people, and I believe I'm better than almost all corrupt people. And I think on top of that, I also believe that I have the ability to manage corrupt people because I have a darkness in me that is willing to do what they do and even more. I would want the entire 20 million because I fundamentally believe that 20 million would go to good in my hands than anyone else. You can give it to Cyril, Epalapala maybe, stuff it in his couches. You can give it to some of the white monopoly capital people. You can give it to entrepreneurs. You can give it to taxi bosses. You can give it to pastors that lead big churches. You can give it to non-profit organizations. You can give it to all Goko that go to church or are part of a stokvel. You can give it to children. You can give it to the poorest of the poor. I believe that 20 million in my hands is in the best place it can be. And I believe that with that 20 million, I can make a much more positive impact on society than anyone else. And therefore, I would want to get as much of that money as possible in my hands.
So you take it, basically?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
So you're going to take it for a good purpose, basically?
I believe so.
Yeah, not for you buying a Golf 7, Golf 8.
I'm not Christian like you. I'm a Penuelist. But Jesus Christ is one of my role models. You can add Steve Jobs, Sadhguru. I am not driven by money. If I was religious, I'd say I'm driven by purpose. But I'm actually driven by impact, and I'm driven by human beings. I genuinely enjoy seeing human beings thrive. So I wouldn't take money and buy a fancy car or whatever. I would use it for good, but good wouldn't look good to most people because I've realized that charity work is very destructive. It's very destructive.
You've got 8 kids.
I've got 6 children.
Okay, you've got 6 kids.
I've got 6 children. I've got currently 2, we'd call them stepchildren for now. So 6 plus 2 makes 8. And at any given time, it can go up or down because my life is funny like that.
Is it?
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
Does it make sense?
It makes sense.
Next month,
unless if maybe you want to break it.
Next month, I could be dating Ukeli Kumalo and she comes with 3. So it becomes 6 plus 2 plus 3. So I'm just trying to explain. But biologically, I'm a father of 6 children.
6 children.
Yeah, from 4 mothers. I always need to emphasize that because it feeds the Twitter trolls, so they have something to attack me for. 4 mothers, 6 children. I love my children more than most things.
They always attack you for having 6 kids.
For having 6 kids with 4 mothers. You have to add the 4 mothers because if it's one woman that I'm married to, it's like, oof, mbogoto.
Do you have a good relationship with them?
I've got, it fluctuates. Generally, I've got a good relationship with 3 of the mothers. In a season, must understand. The women, nabubaya fluctuate. Just in J. You know, you can have one wife. Yeah, and you have fluctuate. Generally, I've got good relationships with 3 of my children's mothers.
Okay.
And I've had a horrible relationship with one of my kids' moms for the longest time. But I've documented it on social media.
You know, how do you do it, dude?
Must I give you the long answer or the short answer?
For a fact, the short answer. I know for a fact that there are guys that have like 10 kids.
Yeah.
And some, I'm sure, maybe they don't take care of their kids.
Of course.
But I bet you for sure that you take care of your kids.
There's a long answer, man. And maybe it's a challenge to me at some point to do a 1-hour special of me speaking to a camera, explaining my understanding of fatherhood from all angles. Because there are different angles. There are different types of fathers. The short answer for me is the fact that I have 6 children from 4 mothers is a hack and a cheat for me. Because if it was 6 children with 1 mother, it would mean me and this one woman have to carry the 6 children. Because it is 4 mothers, I get to share responsibility with 4 people and not 1. What does that mean? It means 2 of the mothers have 1 child each. So their only focus is on 1 child. 2 of the mothers have 2 children each. So their only focus is on 2 children. My focus is on 6 because I've got 6 children. But the mothers don't have to carry 6 children. They carry 1 or 2. So if the mother works, needs time, it's 1 or 2 kids. It's not that demanding. Manja, me as the father, it becomes tricky. All my children were conceived in Johannesburg. Their mothers were living in Johannesburg. So my plan was to raise my children in Johannesburg by myself. I do not believe in oppressing women. I don't believe in dictating to women. I don't believe in telling women how to live their lives. All 4 mothers of my children are, number 1, beautiful. Number 2, very healthy. Number 3, very intelligent. Number 4, very independent and able to do for self. What that means is they don't live for me. They live for themselves. They have their own dreams and aspirations and careers. One of them is working in KZN, doing quite well. One of them is working in China. She's with my children there. She's doing quite well. One of them is working in Johannesburg. She's doing quite well. And one of them is based also in KZN, in the northern part. Last I checked, she was working, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure because she's the one I don't have a good relationship with.
Yeah.
So my children are far from me.
Yeah.
Which now means I don't see them as regularly as I'd like. My goal was to have them all in Joburg and see them or live with them fully, but I don't get to see them all the time. So that almost becomes a cheat for me because I don't have to be present every day because they live with their moms and they're far. I do try to keep video contact, and where possible, like the Durban kids, I visit them regularly. The one in Newcastle I don't get to see because me and the mom are not okay. And then the ones in China, it's video. And COVID really messed us up because they haven't been able to visit because of COVID regulations with China, etc. But the plan is to get them to come back and visit later on this year. And then there's one in Johannesburg that I see all the time.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, that's the dynamic I have. From a financial perspective, because this is probably the bigger one. I'm going to try and be brief. I believe in a formula where you should budget a certain percentage of your money for your child or your children. I've got a percentage. It doesn't matter how many children I have. That is all I can afford. If I have 1 child, they will get all of that money. If I have 20 children, they will have to split it by 20, which means the standard of living will change based on how many kids I have. If I have 1 child, very expensive private school. If I have 20 kids, they might have to go to a no-fee school or cheap township schools or cheap Model C schools. The mothers probably have their own formulas as well. And if they have 1 or 2 kids, they will assign. So I provide for my kids based on what I have, which I think is decent currently. I provide for my children equally with what I have. But if ever I was to be broke, not making an income, I have a plan, because how I'm raising my kids is like this, and I hope more people pick it up. You should be able at any moment to be able to take care of your child fully on your own, whether as a single mom or a single father. So if ever anything happened to all 4 of the mothers and all the kids had to come and live with me, I wouldn't need anything from the mothers. I would financially be able to take care of my kids on my own. So that's me giving you a short answer.
Do you have a goal in terms of calling all of them and putting them in one room? Say, guys, meet this one, like, so that they can get to meet each other.
The ideal plan and the goal was for all my children to live with me. But the reality is that I'm a man.
You don't want this one dating this one and all of a sudden cut to their siblings. You know that thing happens. I'm telling you, dude.
No, it does happen.
Yeah.
I used to. I've stopped now with consultation. I've stopped now posting my kids. I used to post my kids online and I used to speak about them all the time because I wanted them, as they get older, to be able to plug into my content and be able to see, oh, this is my brother, sister, this is how old they are, this was their birthday. They could see them. And as they become tech savvy and teens, they have their own social media. They can reach out to each other, or I can create a WhatsApp group if they in different places, and we can create Zoom family meetings once a week, which is actually one of my plans, to have Zoom family meetings once a week where they all plug in and they all give us updates on how they're doing at school, what they're stressed about, and then they can have their own independent relationships. Ideally, it was for me to live with all of them, but I'm a man. And the reality in the world we live in is that women have a privilege when it comes to kids. Everyone expects children to live with their mothers. So when it comes to who should children live with, almost everyone votes with the mom. So the second best plan is for my kids to visit me because of school every holiday. And then I will always be available for them. And when they visit me, it's because my kids are still young. It's going to be easier once they're older, where they will all come visit me and then we'll all chill together. Or we organize family holidays. Or one of them is having an event. And I tell the other ones, if they are available and can access, your sister's playing sports here, your brother's what. If you're available, come through. Come watch them. Come chill. I'll take you guys out for supper and we'll hang.
When you met your first baby mama, did you believe in marriage? Because I know you don't believe in marriage now.
And she didn't either.
Is it?
Yeah. I've never believed in marriage. It might be because my parents' marriage wasn't great. So it becomes like a trauma reaction. But because I have a philosophical mind, I question everything. And I looked at the marriage contract and I realized, and I went and I studied the history and I realized why the marriage contract was put in place. A lot of it was to protect the woman because men had patriarchy and male privilege and a woman needed some type of financial, economic protection. The other thing is because women were deemed second-class citizens. So a woman will belong to her father until another man comes to own her. That's why when women get married, they lose their father's surname and they take the man's surname. It's like slavery. You know, a slave would take their master's surname. So women were seen as second-class citizens and they still do it today. That's also why men, it's not big for men to wear a ring. It's big for women. So that you can see in the streets that it's almost like a shackle around your neck. I'm owned. Someone owns me. I'm Mrs. Shabalala. You know, I'm saying it in a negative term, maybe because I'm anti-marriage, but I'm trying to explain the history, that it was an ownership thing and you take the man's surname. You fast forward to the world we live in today and you look at the dynamics of gender equality, you look at the dynamics of women empowerment, etc. And I do not see, even if I was to deal with the trauma of my parents' marriage and be like, you know what, I've healed. I currently do not see the benefits of marriage. I see the benefit of a mother and a father living in a home together and raising their children. So a lot of people don't understand this because they don't pay attention. I believe in the nuclear family. I may not have it, but that's because my life is different. And people must not copy my life. Because my life is, if you're going to copy one part, you must copy all of them. And the other part, you're going to see flames. So rather don't copy my life. Nuclear family, find one partner, commit to each other, get your families to meet each other. Don't pay lobolo and those things. I don't believe in that stuff. But get your families, mom, dad, this is whoever, mom, dad, this is whoever. Let's come together. We're now a bigger family. We are going to have children. The children are going to enjoy both families. It's not that my wife must come to be Baba. Can I please go visit my old home? No, it's your home. You're empowered. You're a woman. Go visit your home if you want to take the kids. If your parents want to come through, if I'm visiting them. And for that, I don't think we need to sign anything. I don't think I need to pay your parents anything. I don't think we need to have a fancy event and all the other things. And if the woman for whatever reason or the man for whatever reason feels we have gone for therapy, we have gone for counseling, we are trying, I'm not happy here. I'm not thriving here. They must leave without having to go to court and pay shark lawyers and have to change her surname. Now she's gone back to Miss Bahani. And now I don't believe in all of that stuff. So I believe in commitment and I believe in a nuclear family. And I believe in also limiting the number of kids you have in a money world. I believe in those principles for people, but I don't see the benefits of marriage. But I understand for religious people and for cultural people. That's if you respect religion and culture, not the bullshit that's out there. Those people must get married. Not because of any other reason, but it's because it is within their beliefs. If you are a real Zulu man, woman, if you are a real Christian man, woman, you don't get married because, the contract, it's not even about the paper. It is about your belief system. And in your belief system as a Zulu man, it means you're a virgin. It means the girl is a virgin. It means when your family goes to her family, you're not going to speak because you're a boy. your father and his brothers are going to go speak to her father, her brothers, to be like, we are taking this virgin maiden from your kraal as your prized bull, and we're bringing her into our home. She will now serve us and bear children for us, because culturally, the children will belong to me and my family. Even if this woman leaves, the children stay with me. That's culture. But people don't follow that. They pick and choose.
Yeah.
As a Christian man and woman, when you're going to get married, you're virgins, both of you. And you go to your pastor, whoever your spiritual guide is at church or spiritual mentor, and you start the process of courtship, and you guys meet each other under Jesus Christ and God and whatever you believe in. And from there's a process, and you get married in the church in front of all the witnesses and under God. If you're obviously Muslim, there's an Islamic way of doing these things. And you do it for, not to sign and not if we get divorced. Under culture, there is no divorce. Under religion, there is no divorce. But people pick and choose and mix masala and jollof, curry, these things, and it becomes a mess. That's why today, I think for the average person, getting married is more disastrous mentally and financially than not getting married. I think fat and sit is healthier mentally for couples than getting married. For the average.
Wait. Fat and sit is what?
Fat and sit from a financial and mental perspective is healthier for the average couple in South Africa than getting married. It is only if you are properly religious and properly cultural that you will get married and it will be healthy. But if you are what we are now, where the girls... I don't know how much I can swear on your platform. Anyways, let me put it in a nice way. You're going to go meet a girl who has been intimate with 20 men.
30.
Who has had vacations and posted her bae on social media. And then you're going to bring your family and she's going to pretend to be this Makoti. After having been posted, after twerking and being half naked on social media. You yourself as a man have been dating girls. You've been hurting girls. You've been cheating. You've been getting drunk and smoking hubbly with girls. You're there in the clubs with other honeys. You now are mkwenyana. Hey, this is our mkwenyana, our groom. It's disrespectful to your ancestors and the whole concept.
Disrespectful to yourself.
It's disrespectful to yourself. So that, at least with fat and sit, we kind of know. It's transactional. You're like, say, rent, so babili, we both rent, except you buy grocer. Did you, maybe someone's passed away at your home, I come there, this is my boyfriend. I need some help, and you're like, I'm not going to do Makoti vibes. Or she'll be like, hey, you know what? I'm not into this Makoti stuff, I'll help.
Yeah.
And then if ever there's issues, you guys split. There's no paperwork and what, and now we have to call you Uncle Ban who doesn't even know where she studied. You're calling your uncle who doesn't even know your second name. They're coming to discuss your life and your future. And they want it for fuel and booze. And now you're dropping 80,000 to uncles that don't even know the beginning and the end. They don't know she's a feminist. They don't know that she doesn't believe in gender labeling. They don't know that she's a CEO at work. They're like, hey, yeah, this is a good girl. They don't know her from a bar of soap. It's not only disrespectful, man. It's disgusting and pathetic. That's why the religious and the cultural people, they deserve everything because they have respected protocol. So I can't come and say, marriage is stupid when this guy's like, I'm a hardcore Christian. I'm a hardcore Muslim. I'm a real baddie maiden or man. So you're disrespecting my beliefs. When you go and you fuck around, it's not me. You're disrespecting your beliefs. So when you go sleep with the whole world, get drunk, fuck shit up, and then wants us to come to your wedding and pretend like it's a holy, pure ceremony. That's disgusting and pathetic. So for those reasons,
hey man, Penuel, thank you so much, man. We have a hyena.
This guy, get out of here.
It's getting hot out here, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciated you coming through. That was a dope conversation. Thanks, man. Like I really appreciate you. I don't know. I see you as my brother. I obviously know that you have a brother, Penson. You Penuel. There's a Penrose here.
She's coming. I'm so nervous.
Yo, brah.
She's so different from my brother and I.
Is it?
Yeah, my
You know,
brother and I are quite different from each other, and I think people are starting to see it a little bit.
Dude, like
We have different values. The
You guys
three of
are
us
three,
have different
right?
values. Yeah, 3 from my mother, 17 from my father.
No, bruh. Ah.
We must go forth and multiply. My father at 17, but look, my father's from another generation. I think in his generation, having 10 kids is okay. So 17 is a lot. In our generation, having 3 kids is okay. The fact that I have 6 is a lot. And I still want more.
How many? 10.
I'm aiming for 10 now. Depending on how old I am when I get to 10 and the situations in my life,
Yeah.
it would be nice to go for 20.
How old is your youngest?
My youngest boy, Uskupu, is turning 3 in December. So he's 2 years old.
Okay.
His siblings, I have to mention them because Uskupu is Unyanga. His sister that follows him is Culture. She's turning 4 in July. Nkanyezi is her other name. That's my second daughter. Then the brother that comes, Ushaga, is 5. And then comes Africa. Africa is 10.
Yeah.
Who's my first daughter. And then Uzulu is 10 as well. They were born in the same year. Very scandalous. And then the firstborn, what they call what do they call him? The prince. Nkos. Anyways, the prince in Zulu. Nkos, Haibo, my Zulu bundles are chugging.
What is a prince in Zulu?
Jeez, my Zulu, sorry. Nkosana.
Nkosana.
Come on, Penzo, stop it. This is embarrassing.
Okay.
Nkosana is Nkunzi Malanga. He's 12, turning 13 in September. So I've got a 13-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
No, I really can't wait for Penrose
Yeah.
to show her face.
Yeah.
I usually see her on
Excuse me.
Penson's Insta. Like,
Yeah.
She doesn't show her face. Like, those,
Her Instagram is she's on Instagram.
Is it?
Yeah, Penrose. She's on Instagram, so people can check out there. But hopefully she'll start making videos soon. There's a 12-year gap between me and my sister. So she's arguably young. She's 24-5 this year. She was born in 98. So she's 8-3-5. She's 25 this year,
Is it?
I think.
What did she do?
She's currently working at AFGRI. But she has an honors in sociology and she's doing her master's in sociology. She's the most educated in the family, weirdly enough, even though at some point we were like, she's like the least smart. 12-year gap between me and my sister, 9-year gap between Penson and my sister. And we are different. And if or when she decides to start coming on platforms, people will realize we're not the same. There are ways that my brother lives that I disapprove of. There are ways that my sister lives that I disapprove of. There are ways that I live that they disapprove of. For example, my brother drinks. I hate alcohol. My brother doesn't mind Habli. I fucking hate Habli cigarettes. No, the guns I think are very important. So at least we agree there. But he's a gun fanatic. I'm just pro guns. The way we approach relationships and view women with my brother is different. The way my sister views relationships is different from me and my brother. My brother and I are into more natural women. My sister's more slaying. She'll get a weave and slay and be on fleek and be snatched. We're not really about that life. She likes makeup. We're different. It's a beautiful thing, but there are so many commonalities which bind us. And there are some of the core values: loyalty, trust, respect, sharing mutually, protecting each other. We believe in those. So at least there, we have a really great relationship. Even when we disagree, it's out of respect of each other. Yeah.
No, man, thank you so much, man. I really
Justify. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to this platform. It's going to grow very quick. But I hope you have a good time.
Yeah.
And I hope this is going to be as your big brother. I hope as you grow and as you bring guests here and as your profile grows, don't lose your why you started this. It's very easy to get distracted with celebrity and call these people on, people dragging you on social media, other people attacking you, making a lot of money, being invited into spaces, wanting to chase algorithms and making certain content. Every now and then, just take a deep breath when you're alone, maybe when you're praying, and go back to why. why did I start this thing? And always make sure you go back to your why. And your why can change. As long as you're always on the why, you'll never fail. So that's fundamentally important.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mchasto.
Hopefully I'll come on one of your platforms.
Fuck that. I'm not inviting you.
To talk
Bastard.
about to talk about content, the dangers of content that people don't normally talk about.
No, that would be dope.
Yeah.
That would be dope.
Thanks,
Let's make
man.
it happen.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Sure.